Hello everyone, welcome back to Web3. My name is Zach. Today we're looking at some of the comments from industry players responding to Vitalik Buterin's latest statements regarding cross-chain ecosystems. It's time we get into it. Let's do that. Industry players respond to Vitalik Buterin's thoughts on cross-chain ecosystems. Interdependence between chains could create a domino effect that impacts multiple ecosystems if a single chain were to be attacked, but that certainly isn't a reason to stop working on cross-chain innovations, Komodo's chief technology officer Caden Stallman told Cointelegraph. So let's go into the news once I've had some water. Last week, Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum's co-founder, voiced his disapproval regarding the emergence of cross-chain bridges, citing security vulnerabilities due to their interdependency. In the days that followed, however, developers working on cross-chain technologies largely dismissed his skepticism. In a statement to Cointelegraph, Caden, chief TO of Atomic Swap blockchain Komodo, responded, "What we ultimately need is true decentralization. For example, instead of relying on one or two trusted bridges that have a single point of failure, it would be better to work towards a future where we have numerous bridges that are secure, trustless, and censorship resistant." Eric Ashdown, head of ecosystem growth at data analytics and blockchain indexer Covalent, concurred. Vitalik is a smart cookie. He's clearly done his thinking about the state of bridges. However, his saying that bridges are a bad idea and won't work is the equivalent of the Bitcoin community in 2015 saying Ethereum and smart contracts were a bad idea. Stallman further reiterated that cross-chain interoperability is the future and that both multi-chain ecosystem networks like Polkadot and Cosmos, as well as atomic decentralized exchanges, could disrupt the economic size of Ethereum. In supporting the claim, Stallman cites expensive gas fees on the blockchain as to why users would prefer alternative, of course, L2 coming in. Nevertheless, there are unresolved issues surrounding cross-chain blockchains. Ashdown cites one example of the composability of a smart contract, where sending a token across one bridge will not have the same contract address if it crosses from another bridge. This means that anyone else sending a token across another bridge will not be able to interact with the original tokens sent from the main bridge. Now let's have a look at Vitalik's own comments on everything happening here, with Vitalik giving a thumbs down to cross-chain applications. What are your thoughts on cross-chain applications before we get into this? And with that said, once you've commented down, let's jump into this. Ethereum's co-founder cites fundamental security limits of bridges as the key reason for his disapproval. So here, of course, we have Ethereum's co-founder. In a Reddit post on Friday, Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of ETH, outlined critical security concerns surrounding cross-chain bridges in the blockchain ecosystem. Let's actually have a quick look at this Reddit post. I assume we're linking it to this. So here we have quite a long Reddit post, but let's go into it because it is important. The fundamental security limits of bridges are actually a key reason why I am optimistic about a multi-chain blockchain ecosystem. There really are a few separate communities with different values, and it's better for them to live separately than all fight over influence on the same thing. I am pessimistic about cross-chain applications. To understand why bridges have these limitations, we need to look at how various combinations of blockchains and bridging survive 51% attacks. Many people have the mentality that if a blockchain gets 51% attacked, everything breaks, and so we need to put all our force on preventing a 51% attack from ever happening even once. I really disagree with the style of thinking. In fact, blockchains maintain many of their guarantees even after a 51% attack, and it's really important to preserve these guarantees. For example, suppose that you have 100 ETH on Ethereum, and Ethereum gets 51% attacked, so some transactions get censored and or reverted. No matter what happens, you still have your 100 ETH. Even a 51% attacker cannot propose a block that takes away your ETH, because such a block would violate the protocol rules, and so it would get rejected by the network. Even if 99% of the hash power or stake wants to take away your ETH, everyone running a node would just follow the chain with the remaining 1% because only its blocks follow the protocol rules. More generally, if you have an application on Ethereum, and then a 51% attack could censor or revert it for some time, but what comes out at the end is a consistent state. If you had 100 ETH but sold it for 32,000 or 320,000 DAI on Uniswap, even if the blockchain gets attacked in some arbitrary crazy way, at the end of the day you still have a sensible outcome. Either you keep your 100 ETH or you get your 320,000 DAI. The outcome where you get neither, or that matter both, violates protocol rules and so would not get accepted. Now imagine what happens if you move 100 ETH onto a bridge on Solana to get 100 Solana ETH, and then Ethereum gets 51% attacked. The attacker deposited a bunch of their own ETH into Solana ETH and then reverted that transaction into the Ethereum side as soon as the Solana side confirmed it. The Solana ETH contract is now no longer fully backed, and perhaps your 100 Solana ETH is now only worth 60 ETH, even if there's a perfect ZK snark-based bridge that fully validates consensus, it's still vulnerable to theft through 51% attacks like this. For this reason, it's always safer to hold Ethereum native assets on Ethereum or Solana native assets on Solana. That is to hold Ethereum native assets on Solana or Solana native assets on Ethereum. And in this context, Ethereum refers not just to the base chain, but that also proper layer 2 that is built on it. If Ethereum gets 51% attacked and reverts, Arbitrum and Optimism revert too, and so cross-rollup applications that hold state on Arbitrum and Optimism are guaranteed to remain consistent, even if Ethereum gets 51% attacked. And if Ethereum does not get 51% attacked, there's no way to 51% attack Arbitrum and Optimism separately. Hence, holding assets issued on Optimism wrapped on Arbitrum is still perfectly safe. The problem gets when you go beyond 2 chains. If there are 100 chains, there will end up being dApps with many interdependencies between those chains, and 51% attacking even one chain would create a system contagion that threatens the economy on that entire ecosystem. This is why I think zones of interdependence are likely to align closely to zones of sovereignty, so lots of Ethereum universe applications interfacing closely with each other, lots of AVAX universe applications interfacing with each other, etc, but not Ethereum universe and AVAX universe applications interfacing closely with each other. This, incidentally, is also why a rollup can't just go use another data layer. If a rollup stores its data on Celestia or BCAH or whatever else but deals with assets on Ethereum, if that layer gets 51% attacked, you're screwed. The DAS on Celestia providing 51% resistance doesn't actually help you because the Ethereum network isn't reading that DAS, it would be reading a bridge which would be vulnerable to 51% attacks. To be a rollup, that provides security to applications using Ethereum native assets. You have to use the Ethereum data layer, and likewise for any ecosystem. I don't expect these problems to show up immediately. 51% attacking even one chain is difficult and expensive. However, the more usage of cross-chain bridges and apps there is, as things become more mainstream and more widely used, the worse the problem becomes. No one will 51% attack Ethereum just to steal 100 Solana ETH, or for that matter 51% attack Solana just to steal 100 Ethereum WSOL. But if there's if there's 10 million ETH or Solana in the bridge, then the motivation to make an attack becomes much higher, and large pools may well coordinate to make that attack happen. So cross-chain activity has an anti-network effect. While there's not much of it going on, it's pretty safe, but the more of it is happening, the more the risks go up. This itself has 252 points. I expect to see more. With that being said, though, let's go through what we see here. Of course, basically, however, Buterin continued that the same level of security does not apply to cross-chain bridges. In the example he raised, if an attacker deposited their own ETH onto Solana bridge to obtain Solana wrapped ETH and then reverted that transaction onto Ethereum side as soon as Solana side confirmed it, it would of course incur devastating losses on other users whose tokens are locked in the Solana ETH contract, as the wrapped tokens are no longer backed by the original on a 1-to-1 ratio. Buterin further outlined how the security exploit could scale negatively as more bridges are added, which we've gone through all of this already. My argument for why the future will be multi-chain but it will not be cross-chain: there are fundamental limits to the security of bridges that hop across multiple zones of sovereignty. My question therefore goes to you. What do you think? Do you believe that this will be a problem that can be overcome, as others are saying, or do you believe that Vitalik is right and that of course we will not be seeing cross-chain application work out as much as we will of course be seeing multi-chain? Would love to hear your take. This is Web3. My name is Zach. No financial advice in this video. Have a great day. See you in the next Web3 video.